The Mountain Cottage series is finally complete, and I've received some incredible feedback from you guys. I was not expecting that kind of return. Thank you for that. It's really cool to see that the build is being enjoyed. As mentioned in last episode, this video is comprised of all three parts of the build for the folks that like long form videos. You could just throw it on in the background while you build and create something yourself, put it on before bed, something to fall asleep to, whatever it is, the video's here for you. Enjoy.
So first things first, right? Let's get our foundations down. So I want this to sit probably like that high. I think that looks good. I think I want this thing to face this way. So with that being said, bring this out maybe 2. Entryway staircase, I want it to be curved. I stick with it for a while, but I change it later in another episode. But it'll do for now. Yeah, there we go, something like that, right? But now, let's get working on these walls. I made my walls a full wall in height. And then I added the additional 2 meters on top to give us just a little bit more headroom. Okay, now this thing's gonna have a tall old fireplace on it. The purpose of framing the fireplace out now is to save time in the long run of deleting a lot of wall space. But this also allows me to know exactly where it's going to sit, so I can clearly make additions around it instead of guessing where it's gonna be. Right there. Nailed it. Flip her around. And you know what? To give us a little bit more room, let's go ahead and take that wall down. I do this a lot. I kind of get like inspiration as I'm building, so I tend to change things a lot. But it's all good. And the game's super easy too to fix things, and that's what I love. You don't like the way something looks, it's not difficult to change it. So I think we'll take it out that far and we'll bring it all the way back. Making this addition here will give us more room to work with on the inside. I like to build my shelf first, then make adjustments as I go. So first, I know the available space. Then, I add onto it if needed. Just like that. Let's make sure everything's lined up on the outside. Yep. So now what we want to do is we want to replicate this on the other side. Okay, let's go ahead and double layer this roof. Now what we're gonna do is take out this here. I double layer my roofs to get rid of the walls clipping through the top. It hides it nicely and it just makes your build look that much cleaner in the end. Nice, that felt great. All right, there we go. Not bad, not bad. Next, I want to build a pop out above the front window. So I shave off this corner here and bring it back 2 blocks. That way I have the right space needed to line the window up with the pop out above. But it's also going to be handy when I do the roof for my porch. All right, taking a small break from the roof. I think I want to add some depth to these corners. And we're gonna do this with stone. I love the way the rough stone blocks look. There's a naturalism to it that I enjoy with these medieval style builds. I use this block a lot throughout my builds. Sweet. Okay. I'm gonna add an extra little lip of roof here. Okay, for the porch, I want it covered following the same angle as the pop out above, like this. Should be easy enough to get in there. I have plenty of space now that the wall on the left has been shifted. I finally went and grabbed a chest with extra materials and a bed, so I wouldn't have to teleport back home every time night fell. A late precaution, which isn't really a precaution at all, is it? More like a product of necessity. So let's finish off this peak here. Alright, we're on the right track here. Now I think it's time to get this chimney up. Oh, that hurt. Removing a few of these blocks should give an old-timey look, like it's been here for a while and is starting to degrade. It's a small detail, but it's totally worth it, at least to me. Uh-oh. There we go. I can live with that. Now to finish up this fireplace. Okay, now we can pop a window here, a window here. Okay, so in order to do this side, we're gonna have to kind of start mapping out the inside. So let's take a second and get all this cleaned up in here. Alright, so starting to map out the interior, I was left with a ton of choices, which made it difficult for me to come out with a design that I really liked. Too many options isn't always a good thing. So I start by placing floors and walls for a lofted sleeping area, but this will go through a few changes before I stick with the design that I really like. Now the reason I wanted to map the inside before completing the exterior of the left side of the build was to get this patio in. I want the patio extension from the loft in order to put the blacksmith's workspace underneath it outside. Alright, now that the patio is built, I could take some time to design the structure the way I want. I have envisioned a somewhat enclosed area, but not fully. It needs to feel like an outdoor workshop still. So I'll give it some archways to enclose it in slightly, but it'll still leave plenty of open space and airflow for those hot days in the forge. Moving back inside to finish mapping out the interior, I needed to get my staircase in from floor to floor. It's not a lot of space to work with, so creativity is going to be key here. I tried a few different styles and designs before I finally found the proper flow for the layout. It's easy to just slap up a simple staircase or a ladder somewhere, but to design something with purpose and intent and flow is a whole other challenge. Alright, so I think we're going to try and sneak our staircase in right here. And now I'm left with a couple of options here. I can bring this straight down like that. The other option would bring it back down this direction. Yeah, I like that. It's more open. Get this here, and we're gonna close this off. I want it to be one deeper, like that, because that's gonna come into play when we start doing interior decorating on this. Because I want to put like an inset nook in there, so I'll carve it out and I'll put like a lamp or something in there. It'll look kind of cool. Maybe a couple of books. So I feel like, yep, there needs to be more in here. Oh, that's perfect. I love it. There we go. Now, I also want to open up this wall here to put the kitchen. So let's get rid of that. This is what I was referring to earlier in the episode, making adjustments as the build evolves. I want more room for the kitchen area. That way when we decorate this, we have more available space to get creative with it. A very easy change that will enhance the build overall later. Let's go ahead and get this log out of the way. Perfect. So I don't mind taking the time now to make little changes such as this. Plus, adding these additions with these extra roofs really allows your build to gain an interest. So don't be afraid to get in there and add an extension here or there while giving them their own roof line. So as far as this, I think we just want to do walls on the sides. Now we can actually get rid of this. Okay, the fireplace. Now this is going to be tricky because we don't want it too big on the interior. Now this part's cool because you're given so many options to be creative and to do what you want. Like, how do you want your mantle and your fireplace itself to look? Put that in, and then we'll backfill this. Okay, after playing around for a little bit, this is a design that I came up with that I think is pretty cool. Not too bad, but there's just so many options you can do, and so far I think I'm happy with that. I don't think it'll change, but hey, anything can change at any point. But right now I think that's pretty cool looking. All right, with the fireplace out of the way, I focused on my roof peaks. I wanted to have spires across the ridges of my roof lines. Yep, that's cool. I think I like that. Okay, now I just need, well, a lot of them. Start with 25, I guess. So to accomplish this, I put beams across on the inside of my roof peaks, and then I used the prison fence to set them on top of those beams. Like that. Yep, I think that's the way we're gonna have to do it. Well, that wasn't as tedious as I thought. Hopefully it did what I wanted it to. Huh, it sure did. There we go. And now this side. Boom. Right there. Ooh, so close. You know what? I think I can live with that. Go ahead and get rid of this for now. Once I got all that situated and lined up how I wanted, which was kind of a pain, I deleted the beams used to set the fences on. And then I rebuilt the beams higher up to trim out the interior and to kind of hide the fence as best as I could. Nice, that trim is coming along nicely. Yeah, I'm good with that. I get so overcritical about such small details that don't even matter, and I'm trying to get myself past that. Because normally I wouldn't be okay with something like that. I wouldn't even be okay with like these little pieces of iron sticking through. That would drive me nuts. In the end, when you're in here and you're just kind of looking around, you know, you're not nitpicking every little, you're just checking it out. It's like, it's going to be cool. And truthfully, that you probably wouldn't even notice that. But that looks good. I like it. Okay, so now I think we should do interior details next. Get it all decorated and stuff. That way we know exactly where our windows are going to be, where the furniture is, because all that can change once we start filling this place up with furniture. I think I want to widen this staircase and put a wall here. Adjusting the stairs also requires the front window to be shifted a hair to the left. Okay, like that on the inside, and then out here we're going to add the two to this, and then we can clean this up over here just like that. We'll leave it like that for now, and we'll play around with it some more when we do the exterior decorating. Now that that's been extended, let's get the staircase extended. Bam, just like that. Okay, sweet. So what I'm thinking is we want at least, yeah, I'd say 4. Let's do 5. Yeah, I think that's plenty. When I start my interiors, I generally have a broad idea of what I'm going for, but nothing is exact. So that's going to be like the allotted kitchen space that we're going to work with. Back counters back here. I want to try and get some cabinet space up here. I want it to be with wood. So do we stick with that wood type or do we bring another wood type in? So I don't want too much of the same thing. You got to have a little bit of variation here and there.
I know that I want cupboards, a sink, and a window on this wall, though I'm not exactly sure how I want them to look. So I grab some blocks and I just start placing and see what comes to mind.
So I generally like to make my countertops 2 blocks tall, like that. And then, you know, something cool that might look good to accent this wood type that we're using is put a trim around this. So you just eliminate that one, right? And then fill it in here. I think that looks good. It gives you that little lip so it looks like it overhangs. It kind of trims it out a little bit. And then let's say these 2 blocks here, right? 2 blocks up and all the way across to there. We'll use regular stone block, and this should give us a pretty badass like backsplash look. I mean, and this block can change too. We can always find a different block that would look good, but the point is just trying to create that backsplash, right? And then we come back to our wood block and we create that shelf like that. But I wonder if there's a way sneak those into there. Did I give underneath? See, there we go, like under cabinet lights, right? And then you put your chest up there. That's cool. But since it's all lit up now, I think I want a different backsplash pattern. Okay, so what else do we have to our disposal that might look good? Shoot, even this obsidian block might look cool. And if that doesn't work, we can try this. We can try the brick timbered block, and then we can even try fancy stone. Yeah, see, the well block might be cool, especially once we start getting plant life in there. Ooh, and a roughly cut stone block, that's kind of a cool block. And we'll try regular sandstone. Oh heck, we'll just try it all, huh? Let's see, what else do we got? I don't think this will look good as a backsplash, but we can try it. There definitely ain't no harm in that. And then we can try the refined stone block. So let's play around here for a second. Let's try this obsidian block real quick. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's a little too fancy, I think. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, red brick I feel is to be a cool material. Okay, and then we'll try this stuff. And then what else we got? Fancy stone block. We'll try this stuff. So that might actually look good as well. Okay. We can get rid of that one. And let's just add some more of this. I think the brick looks good. Okay, kind of cool. I don't know how I feel about the arches. I did not try the roughly cut stone. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. Okay. Yeah, see, that's kind of cool. Get that edge right there. So it's like just another added layer of detail. I think that's the one that I want so far. I want to be certain. I mean, that's actually not bad, huh? Yeah, that one's kind of cool too. And actually, both of them are kind of cool. Yeah, I am not a big fan of that. I gotta see all my options. Okay, nope, I'm good on that. Oh, that actually does look really good. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then think about it, like, if you were to have, you know, like an L-shaped kitchen, you could do this on the other side too. Like if this wall was solid and I didn't have this big ass window here, you could do it on this side too, and that would look even better. Which, I mean, I guess I could do. I guess I could shrink this window to like there, and there, put the sink there, and then put backsplash here and backsplash there. You know what? I'm doing it.
I like the backsplash so much that I'm now altering the other wall in my kitchen just so I can have more backsplash. It's a subtle effect, but it looks great when it's all done and just makes the kitchen look a little bit more complete. So the plan moving forward is to lower the cupboard's shelf, install the backsplash and the under cabinet lights, and then finally put the sink in with the countertop.
That's what I want. Go ahead and get rid of this now, since we brought our cabinets down. And then that's 2 blocks high, which is plenty for a chest. There we go. I mean, that kitchen's plenty big. Let's get rid of this for now. Okay, now floor tiles.
I bounce around a lot when I'm building. The reason being is when I get an idea, I want to tackle it right away while the idea is fresh in my mind. Then I can go back to whatever I was doing previously.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
We'll get back to the cabinets in just a second.
Okay, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. I mean, there's always like chandeliers and stuff that we can use too. Yeah, so let's leave that light for now. Let me think on that, but we'll continue working on other stuff. Get rid of this. Raise it one. And I really like that flooring, but I think this is going to look better. More earth tones, and that orange was just a little too much, I think.
The floor pattern on the brick really is neat. I just thought the well block would match better with how I plan to furnish this thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty cool kitchen floor. I like the idea of the light, but even if I keep it, I'm not going to keep it in that position and probably not that big. Let's just take the flintstone that this is made of and fill it in like this. Okay, I think that'll be fine.
I then shifted my focus to the other kitchen wall to get the cabinets up on that side, along with the uprights on either side of the cupboards. After completing that, I throw up some trim around the ceiling and clean up all the hard transitions of materials. And here we go, changing the stairs again. This is the last time though, I promise. I decided that the loft would look better over the kitchen and what will be the dining room instead of looming over the living room space. So some major renovations are in need. I get rid of the doors and walls upstairs and rotate the loft lengthwise across the back of the build. I totally like this better than how it was previously. Moving up the stairs, I picked the rustic window frames to use as a railing. I thought it'd look pretty tight with the earthy tones and the style of the cottage. Though I initially put the railing a little low on the landing, I did go back and raise them up waist height. Don't need no OSHA fines now. Once the railing was done, I trimmed out the loft with the same rough wood block that I used in the kitchen. That should tie it all in nicely.
Yep, I think I like that a lot more. Opens it up, lets more light in. And this really just needs to be a sleeping loft, right? It doesn't need to be anything too crazy. Moving on, let's finish up this kitchen here. Now that we got all this opened up. Pop another window right here. And then what do we say to a narrow window there? I say we like it. I think we brought this out just one too far. So we'll back this up. What do we say about rounding it off? Like that. I also think that looks good. Grab one of those, one of them, one of them. See how they look in combination with each other, the burial wood shelves and the rustic tables. But that's what I love about this. It's all just playing around and seeing what works, what looks good, what doesn't. You know what, it might look kind of cool stuffed underneath here, right underneath that cabinet. Let's give that a shot, see what we think about it. Right there, where that sits, looks all right. This dude, what do we want to do with this dude? I mean, it would look fine right there. Ooh, but we may have to get rid of that window, which is fine. We can toss a candle there and that'll provide the light that it needs. I like that. I think that looks good. Now, do we want to get crazy and kind of put something like right? Oh, you know what? Let's place some temporary blocks right here.
I just had an idea to get this shelf to sit exactly where I want. But first, I need to backfill this void. Then I can place my shelf on those blocks. Then I can get back there and delete the temporary blocks, exposing the under cabinet lights we installed earlier. This is gonna be great.
Right there. So we have one shelf. You know, if that's the case, then we should probably raise it to where it's gonna clip through that and get that out of our way. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks good. I spend a lot of time adjusting and readjusting things to get it to, you know, exactly where I like it. Now, we need an oven, a furnace, or a heat source to cook food. Okay, so we got two styles to play with. I like to put this thing like inset into a wall, like somewhere in there might be cool. And then these ones I like to put like into the countertop here quick. All right, let's put them both down, see which one we like more. See, and that's pretty cool.
Even though both these options are kind of cool, it's not what I'm going for. It will change again in a moment.
They're both kind of cool. I'm not exactly sure which one I like more though. And there's always the option of redesign too, which as you're learning, I do a lot of. All right, after a short break, I had an idea. We're gonna try it and see what we think about it. So if we move this there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that works. All right, piece by piece, little by little. I mean, I guess that can kind of just look like it's open, right? Like the window's cracked. Like you took the two center ones and you opened them just a little bit. Okay, cool.
Now it's time to bring this place to life. I start off by stuffing some foliage in the nooks and crannies around the cabinets in the kitchen and move through the lower floor, finding any place that may look good to house some greenery. You know, in the corners, around some shelves that I got up, and even around the fireplace. I even get that nook in the wall by the stairs I mentioned last video. I also thought some foliage wrapping around a support beam in the kitchen would look kinda neat. On the landing, I placed some foliage and a rustic table. A little decoration, but it looks nice. Once I finished up with the foliage, it was time to get some dishes, other furniture, crates and bags laid around just to make the place look more lived in. This is very tedious and time consuming. However, it's nice to take a step back from the grind and kind of lose yourself in this stage of the build. I always think of the activities that could have been going on in the cottage while placing these details. A coffee cup over here from breakfast, a book on a table from last night's reading, or even a cauldron in a recipe book for later tonight's dinner, which you'll see get placed here shortly. The point is, I like to create my own story of what the day-to-day living is like in the build. Are the residents dirty? Clean? Do they cook a lot? Are they an adventurer with countless trophies displayed on their walls? Or are they just a secluded blacksmith on the side of a mountain with a small stake of land? Anyway, that's how I like to approach the decorating aspect of the build. So let's finish up this video with the continuation of this decoration placing montage, shall we? Yeah. Come on, come on, just a little too... Right there. Nice. Okay, so something that's really going to help us out later is getting all this rock out of the way.
Now we need to figure out how we're going to frame out these windows. So okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah, those look pretty good. I might change the bottom here to something else, but for right now, that's looking all right. Oh, you know what would be cool is this wood that we use upstairs, right? Ooh, let's see. Let's see how that would look. Yeah, I think those look better. At least in the moment I do. Sometimes my mind changes. I like something and then I see it later and I'm like, why did I do that? That doesn't look good.
This will not actually change. I really like the way the conifer wood looks with the build. It's a great accent color.
There we go. Now this top piece is going to be a little tricky because of that other window. Should we just get rid of that top window? I think so. I don't like how it's connecting to the roof above it. So what if we were to just eliminate that one? Would it make it look weird? No, not really. I think that'll do.
Time to complete the same thing on the back of the cottage. I did initially have a hard time getting this side to look right because my windows are out of line due to how the interior is laid out. However, I was able to make it work just fine with a little ingenuity and sacrifice to the old OCD meter.
Okay, now while we're up here, let's go ahead and foliage up this roof, shall we?
It's amazing what foliage can do to a build. It's an excellent decorative piece. It can appear to be purposefully done for that natural, lush, zenful feel, or it can make your build look old and overgrown. It's definitely worth taking the time to harvest mass amounts of this stuff and apply it in many sorts of matters. Finishing up with the foliage, well, for now, I moved to the front door. I wanted to give the door a trim that matches, but also with some depth. So I delete the edges of the sandstone and replace it with conifer wood to trim out the door. After placing the door, I extended the sandstone out another block to acquire that depth. Now the door looks inserted with a brown trim to make it appear more interesting and inviting. Then I put a window above the door for some natural light to creep into the entryway of the home. And of course, more foliage. The path to the workshop was laid out with the city wall block. It reminds me of paved stone, so it makes sense to utilize it as a path block from time to time. I lay it out all the way to the workshop and place a step down to map out where the bridge will be later. I widened this path a few times trying to find the right width for walking, decorating, and the railing that's going to go up. I don't want it to be huge, but I don't want it to feel cramped either. I picked up and replaced these iron fences because it made more sense to start from the pillar to the cottage instead of from the cottage to the pillar. Then I added some height to the pillars to tie it all in. Alright, time to change these stairs. I like the curvature, but with the square blocks, such as the city wall block, it doesn't look quite right. I ended up doing a very standardized, straight up double step, which actually looks great. And it opens up the path a bit. I didn't like the awkwardness of the curve almost meeting the torch and the railing from the path. Yeah, I just think that looks a lot cleaner. By eliminating a few blocks here and there and replacing it with rough stone block, you can create the illusion of a beaten path. It's a small detail and totally optional, but I really like the way it looks. I have an unpatternized pattern, if that makes sense, that I like to follow when doing this. I'll do 1 or 2 diagonal from each other, or I like to do 3 in the shape of an L, and I'll mix it up and pepper them all over the place. But when it's finished, it's barely noticeable, but it makes your path look a little roughed up, and I like it. So when you're trying to place foliage on fences like this, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but the soil likes to meet the bush and it creates a hump. No worries though, we can just add bushes where we want and then go back with our single block selected and delete the ground that raised up to our bush, and it'll clean it up real nice. The workshop. All right, so I'll need to grab some things that we need, like barrels, buckets, a cauldron, crates, these cloth bags, whatever they are. We also need the workstations like forge, smelter, blast furnace, and just a standard oven. All right, so the way I like to do this is I like to kind of place all of my primary workstations first, and then I will kind of figure out how I want them arranged, and I'll start moving things around and start building the area around the placement that I find that I enjoy. So this thing here, mine is probably going to be, boom, right in this wall. So let's put this thing over here, somewhere like that for now. I think this would look good right in here. Okay, and that's what will hide the backsplash. I like to frame these things out and give them like their own little workbench area, if that makes sense. If not, you'll see in a minute. And then this thing, maybe that way will work just fine. Okay, blast furnace, this big old sucker. So we got the bellows in the back that we got to be aware of, like right there. All right, the tools. The tools are gonna go right above this. That'll be better framed out here in a minute. Okay, so now coming into the workstation like this, I don't know if I actually like this. So let's grab this thing. If we were to do something like that, that bellows is clear and out of the way, and then maybe we can frame around that with stone, kind of give it its own little encasement. And then maybe we'll grab these things here. Pick that up, and we can move them more central, like it's the primary workstation here. So if we want it right there, let's go like that. Okay, let's back this up just a little bit. We want it to just barely clip through that. No, that's not too bad. No, that's not too bad at all. Yep, I think that's pretty cool. And then we'll pop a hole right there. It's kind of like the exhaust ventilation, you know, makes sense in my mind. Where's the coffee mugs?
Gotta have a coffee mug where you're working, just as I do right now. Cauldron. Cauldron should be close by. Okay, so heat, bang, bang, bang on the anvil, dip in a cauldron. I like to build things to make sense. Not always, of course, but most of the time that's where my mind is at. I feel like it helps me to design, decorate, and detail. And then, let's see, about chest high. Is that a good height? That is a good height. And now what we can do to make this piece right here, the backsplash is poking through, make more sense, we can do the same thing right here. And I guess we can even do it here too, because this is just a void behind the stairs. Yeah, just like that. That's fine. That looks all right. Now moving on to this beast. There we go, that's kind of cool. We may do more with that in a little bit, or change it up a little bit, but as of right now, I think that's pretty neat. Get them some learning. Put the rug like right over here and we'll kind of make it just a little crooked. Gotta get a couple of mannequins here, that way she can display her works. So throw that bad boy on there. And this, throw the dragon sword on there. Okay, daggers. Well, I had my recording paused as I was building. I'm an idiot. Anyway, I'll show you guys real quick what I did. I changed this up over here, placed the daggers on the table. I threw some, by the way, if you're curious on how to do this, you take your dagger stand and you place it down, put your daggers on it, and then you encase it with whatever material you want, at least along the bottom. So what I've discovered is that palm wood will show the daggers the best, like that. I tried using some other woods, but the daggers would clip through them and they wouldn't look as clean. Palm wood seems to work the best so far. Kind of cool though. So I threw those lights up there, threw some vegetation around it, made this flower bed right here in front of the fence, and I planted some trees around. And I got some up on the mountain back there, some more up there. That way when you're looking at it and they grow, you see some trees up on the hills behind the house as well. I took the sconces down that were here, I put up this hanging light, and then I put the sconces up there. I think that's everything. Hopefully. I'm really pleased with how this workshop turned out. There are so many ways to design these, and this is just one of many variations possible. Okay, let's get this bridge constructed. Okay, so in order to make this work, let's just lay out some measurements here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now that we got that laid out, we know exactly where we want our pillars. Alright, after looking at these pillars that we placed, I felt like they needed to be raised another block. And
and I'm glad I did. It looks way better, especially with the iron fences that will be placed shortly.
I think I want to replace that sandstone down there with wood. I think it would look better. Yep, I like the wood better. Let's check this out. So I added the arch to it, 2 blocks of wood, and then the wooden stick frames with a little gap, and then a trim piece underneath of it. The best design ever? Of course not. Kind of cool? Sure, yeah.
The final product of the bridge came out pretty cool. Like I said with the workshop, there are so many ways to build these, and I have a ton more ideas for in the future. But this is what works for this build. It didn't need anything crazy, just something to simply reach the resources on the other side.
And as you can tell, the trees are starting to grow. Those still aren't full grown trees, but they're getting there. And you can kind of see from here, get a good view of that house with some trees all around it. I can't wait till those things are fully grown. All right, so next is the yak farm. Bam, just like that. Okay, we'll grab our hoe here. We want to bring this nice, luscious green moss in here. Perfect. And now this here is going to be the path to the place. So when we're making our fence, we got to keep that in mind. Bed, feeder right there. Let's throw that food in there now. Yep, super simple. Maybe we'll pop an airflow window here and an airflow window here. Oop, here. If you can imagine, it get pretty stinky in there. All right, so we could do this a few ways. I mean, we could use these if we wanted to. That would look good. But I think I want to try something else. I think I want to stick to the common theme here. No more iron fences because those things are expensive. But if we take a look inside here, I've used these window frames to create railing. So we could do a combination of that mixed with some cobblestone walls, which I think would look really cool. So if we just start like right there, right, and we'll just lay this first layer to kind of give us an idea of what kind of shape we want here. Just slightly imperfect, you know, and we can come around this side and kind of do the same thing. Let's see, how does that look? It's not terrible. Not exactly what I'm going for though. So let's bring it out a little bit more. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, and now we grab this guy right there. Or do we just bypass the tree altogether and do something like that?
I have a pretty cool idea for this gate to the yak and goat pen. At the time of building this, I wasn't sure if it was going to work. But as I began placing stone, it started to come together pretty well. Yes, there is no physical gate. And yes, the livestock does occasionally get out. But that's the blacksmith's problem, not mine.
Now can we... Oh, we can. Something like that, I think. I'll come place that in there like that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. Now, we just mess this up a little bit. We don't want it to be perfect. Something like that. And then we grab our fences here. No, that was an accident. There we go. You know what? This one, I think we're going to try and get, what, 3 in here? Yeah, it does not like this spot, does it? There it is. Okay, not bad, kind of cool, a little different. I know there's somebody out there going, ugh, dude, really? And I'm like, yeah, dude, sweet, isn't it? But I mean, ultimately, right, it's my build, so. And now?
A yak.
Gotcha. Now, I think I want to get a goat or 2 in here as well. Yeah, this goat. I want to get like 2 of those. This goat was a damn pain. My bait kept rolling down the hill and I kept getting busted by the goat and its taming would reset. This was an hour and a half-ish ordeal that I considered turning into a humorous montage of all my failed attempts. The video's already long enough, so I decided against it.
And there we go.
Onto the garden. This garden doesn't need to be too big. It's literally for one person, the blacksmith, who will never really use it. So with that in mind, I stretched out some farming soil, put up a deteriorating half wall, a couple crates, of course a garden gnome, my wife would be proud, she loves these damn things, and a scarecrow. For crops, I put in some corn, wheat, and pumpkins. It's a pretty small area, but it goes a long way to make the build as a whole look more complete.
All right, yeah, I think that does it for the garden. And then it just needs to grow. All right, I got some more trees here. And if I do this right, yep. Damn.
To get these trees planted in this biome, I had to remove the dirt and put in some farming soil.
There. No, not there. There. No, I only got 2 left, so I gotta be careful. Come on. Come on. Yes. No, that was the last one. All right, well, we'll take some evergreens. We'll plant some evergreens in here too. Mix it up a little bit. We'll do the same thing right next to this one. And I think one would look good down here on this little island. Cool. I got some flax that we can plant around just to kind of add some color. Now, the mine.
For the mine, I have a few ideas. The main entrance will be here. Then around that, I'll put a few barrels, a kiln, a wagon, and some torches, which I actually forget to do until later, but it's all right. They make it in there.
All right, so we want the entrance to be right here. There we go. We're not gonna get too crazy with this, just for aesthetics, right? Now I guess we just frame this out. Yeah, see, something like that. Super simple, but effective.
The finished mine came out awesome. The idea was something simple, not jaw-dropping, but it's doing what it should by adding more interest to the entire build.
Okay, I think all we have now is the cellar. Let's clear this area out down here.
I had to place a secondary altar outside with the same radius to keep my build protected so I can delete the one in the cellar and work on the area with nothing in my way.
All right, now we got to figure out exactly where we want the cellar door. Now I don't want it right in front of my fireplace, so maybe like right here should be good. All right, so there we go. We got that mapped out now. All right, that should be enough to work with. And then we want this altar there. All right, let's pick up this brazier and we'll put it in that corner. And then we'll put this one in that corner. We'll pick this one up and then we can get rid of that. All right, there's that. Now we can start decorating the inside of this thing. Now it's a cellar, right? So I'm thinking food preservation. I'm thinking wine, you know, things of that nature.
While decorating the cellar, I made sure to place lots of jars for the food preservation discussed a bit ago. I also wanted some spare dishes and a few candles, maybe a couple plants. Oh, and I left some of the terrain in there on the ceiling on purpose. I wanted the cellar to be earthy just like the rest of the build. I also put up some foliage in there as well to match.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we can come out here. We can get rid of this. Ta-da! All right. I started decorating the porch a little bit. This is really the last thing we have to do. Well, second to last thing. But I think all this is needing is a rug and maybe a book. Okay, this front porch needs like a doormat. Here we go. Brilliant.
Okay, and the book. Oh, perfect. I can put it on the bench. Boom. Oh yeah, that's way better. Okay, maybe do it like that. Oh yeah, pretty zenful. The trees are coming in too. They're all full. Okay, I'm going to clean up my mess over here. My crates that I got with all my materials. And then we'll move on to the very last step. All right, the very last thing is to get Rochelle placed. So we'll place her here in her work area, and then we will assign her to her bed up here. There we go. And the Anders Mountain Cottage is complete.
And that's it for the cottage. I've already broke ground on the next build, but it may take me a couple weeks before I get a video out on it. It takes time to build, to detail, and then to edit. But stick around, and I hope you join me on the next one. Take care now.
How does that look? Looks like I have benches sitting on my roof. Doesn't look good at all. I think that's the sweet spot. No, it's not. I mean, it's actually not bad, huh? But it doesn't give me that ooh feeling. You know the feeling. The one when you see it, you're like, oh yeah. Oh, that actually does look really good. Oh, that actually looks really good. I like that. And then I grabbed a couple things here that might work for a sink. So the first thing I want to try is that. So this is way too small. Okay, this brazier. Damn, that thing's huge. I did not know it was that big. Oh, no, you don't. Don't come this way. That's what I thought. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. So it's either not touching or clipping through. Or not being used. How do you like that?